like to call the meeting to order. This is the council meeting of November 27th, 2017. Sharon, have we been adequately noticed?
Yes, we were. We were noticed January 6, 2017, to the Trenton Times and to the Princeton Packet.
Okay, would you all join me in the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a ceremonial matter tonight, a proclamation proclaiming December 4th as Communities of Light Day. And I will read the proclamation because explaining what that meant would take just as long as reading the proclamation. Whereas it is the policy of West Windsor Township to recognize organizations that have contributed to the overall benefit of the community, and whereas Woman Space, founded in 1977, has demonstrated a unique ability to provide comfort, support services, crisis intervention, and safety to women who are victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, and whereas Woman Space, in the belief that peace begins at home, has asked the Mercer County community to join them in their struggle against violence toward women by participating in their annual Communities of Light project, and whereas Woman Space has provided emergency shelter in secure locations and comprehensive services for victims of domestic violence since 1977 and sexual assault since 2002, for more than 67,778 women, 13,007 children, and 4,639 men. Woman Space has assisted more than 271,401 callers over the last 40 years. And whereas West Windsor Township applauds the efforts of Woman Space to bring an end to the circle of abuse imposed on women, and whereas Mayor Hsueh and the members of the Township Council urge that each and every household demonstrate their support of the concept that peace begins at home by placing luminaries along their driveways and sidewalks on Monday, December 4th, 2017, as a visible symbol of that support, and whereas the proceeds from the Communities of Light 2017 will be used to fund vital services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Hsueh and the Township Council of West Windsor, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim December 4th, 2017 as Communities of Light Day, and hereby commend Woman Space on its many accomplishments and wish them continued success with Communities of Light in the years to come. And I have the proclamation here to give to the representative of Woman Space. Yeah.
And all of the council members, if you wanted to join me, that would be a good thing so that we can show we are together with all of the signatures from 5 council members.
And I just want to say in a nutshell, you read all that, but Communities of Light, one sentence. It's shining a light, a path towards Woman Space in our services. It's to let victims and survivors of domestic violence know that there's a safe place for them to come. And we're in our 16th year of this event, so we hope that many of you will. Thank you.
Remember the first 16 years ago,
Snow, wind, rain.
Yeah, okay. So, oh, and the sun looks like just yesterday.
Just like yesterday.
Yeah. And of course, this is my final month of mayor for 16 years and 6 months. And
Oh.
next council meeting, thanks to the council, they will be willing to give me 10 to 15 minutes to to give a farewell speech.
10 to
So
15
any one of you will be welcome to come to hear what I have to say, my final speech. Okay, with that,
And this is Kristen Apple,
and we all recognize her.
our honorary
She actually
chair.
part of.
Well, I'm really honored to be here tonight. Want to say a special thank you to West Windsor for the support that the community has always given to Women's Space, especially to our police. The chief is in the back of the room. I know I personally learned about Women's Space from former Chief Frank Cox when I was a member of council. I know the partnership has gone back many years, so thank you for recognizing the organization. And also have to recognize Gay Huber, who I know is a longtime volunteer with the organization and very important part of Women's Space. So thank you, Gay.
By the way, out of curiosity, is like the officials for Women's Space only limited to people.
No.
So we can put it out on our social media.
Yeah,
Good for something. That's a great job.
All right, big smiles, everybody.
That's what we take it selfie. It's all about me. Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Next, public comment. And I think we have a special group on first.
We do. We have a Girl Scout troop, 70054, who would like to come up and make some comments.
Hi, we are Junior Girl Scout Troop 70054, and I'm Madeline Katona, and this is Eliana Herbert, Naz Mehta, Sana Manchanda, Sana Daria, Kavita Amin, Sahiti Gupta, Sahiri Patel, Rani Alder, and Gayatri Mathur. We are fifth graders who attend mostly Millstone River and Village Elementary, with one student from Newtown Elementary in Pennsylvania. We are working toward our Bronze Award project.
The Bronze Award is the highest honor a Girl Scout junior can achieve. The Bronze Award must be a project that makes a difference and a lasting impact in our local community.
To choose the Bronze Award project, the Girl Scouts must identify a need in their local community and volunteer their time and talents to help fix that need.
Our troop has an interest in keeping our community clean. In New Jersey, there is an Adopt a Highway program. We thought it would be a good idea if we could start a local program here in West Windsor.
This program could either be Adopt a Road, Adopt a Park, or even both. There are several communities in other states that have local programs like this. Those programs have an application for a group, business, family, or even an individual who would like to adopt a section of a road or a park to clean regularly. Once approved, the group would have to clean a minimum of 4 times a year and commit to a minimum of 2 years of cleaning. The township could even put up a sign saying which group adopted that area and provide them with gloves and trash bags. We think this program could work here in West Windsor. We are willing to help the township set up a program, and a website in addition to helping to clean as well. We know it will take a lot of hard work and effort, but we are willing to give our time to our community to look clean and beautiful and welcoming to all who visit. We will be in touch to discuss these ideas further and present more ideas to make this idea a reality. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good ideas. I look forward to your reaching out to Marlena Schmid, our business administrator.
I
Next.
have Mr. Donald Watrous.
Donald Watrous, 131 Cranberry Road. First of all, congratulations to the victors in the recent election, and Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for your service to the town. The last time I was here, it was to celebrate your funding of the first segment of the Cranberry Road sidewalk, and to hope that something could get done for the second segment while our bridge is out. And so far, I haven't even seen a shovel hit the ground on the first segment. I was wondering if there was some way that we could get an update as to what's been going on and if there is going to be any progress on the second section. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I have no one else signed up. Does anybody? Okay. And there's a sign-in sheet, if you could just sign in, or come over and see me after you're done.
Hi, my name is Eileen O'Donnell Lennox, and these are my children. And we are coming here today to ask for your help with my height, with changing the speed limit on Clarksville Road from North Post Road until Princeton Heightstown Road to 25 miles an hour all the time. And I know that it's something that the Mercer County has to do, and I have my letter that I wrote to the county, but I thought with the impending Maurice Hawk expansion, it could be something that is in the back of your mind to maybe change that to 25 miles an hour. And also I wanted to ask if you guys had a traffic advisory committee. I didn't see one, and if you didn't have one, can you start one, and can I be on it? And with that, we could talk about speed limits, stop signs, sidewalks, bike and pedestrian ways, things like that.
There is no specific township committee of that sort, but the private nonprofit Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance does cover all those things and meets the second Thursday of the month in Room D downstairs, and you're always welcome.
Thank you.
I also want to talk about the speed limits. It's not the township's responsibility, and it's not the county's. It has to be reviewed and use statistical data to prove the speed limits. And the portion you were referring to from North Post Road to Princeton Heightstown Road already went through that review, and speed limits has been set by the authorities, I believe, about 10 years ago. And now, definitely, once we have more structure coming to this area, that will be the time we can ask for. But township, we probably will need to do some statistical analysis and present it to the state for the change or modification. And definitely, that will be a good idea.
Yeah, and right now, I think it's it's like a half a mile for that stretch, and there are 11 different speed limits, and 5 of them say 35, and 6 of them say 25.
I understand that.
So
Last time we did
confusing.
have arguments with the state.
Other side of the road.
Yeah, we did have arguments with the state for making that decision,
It's
but
just, yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, John Church, 11 Princeton Place. First of all, congratulations to the Girl Scouts for their wonderful work. My wife happens to have been a Girl Scout leader for more than 20 years, and she is presently on the Gold and Silver Award Review Committee that meets to review the projects that have been suggested. What you're doing is wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Just a few things here. I just wanted to mention, the county redid the intersection of 571 and Clarksville Road. Now, when you're proceeding east towards Heightstown on 571, there's a new sign that says "No right turn on red," and that's very good, but the sign is not obvious enough. I have been first in line there many times, and there's a red light. I cannot turn right, but the people behind me beep as if I could turn right. I think that sign needs to be elevated more and put in between the two red lights that are there so that people can see it better. And it's also, because it's not that obvious, people may turn right on red when they really shouldn't and there's opposing traffic. So I know the county would have to take care of that, it being a county road, but that, I think it's definitely needs to be done. Also on traffic matters, I've been mentioning for a couple of years now that we need some reflectors on the center islands on several township roads so that people can see it better at night, say in foggy nights or snow or whatever. You can't see those center islands on, say, New Edinburgh Road and parts of New Village Road very well. And I know that's in progress, and it would be great if before winter really sets in, we could get those reflectors put in so that people will not be in danger of running up and inadvertently on the center islands at night. One other thing, I noticed you're going to transfer some funds from the fuel budget to Social Security, as it's quite a bit of money. I'm just wondering why the Social Security budget wasn't completely projected in advance for this amount, the extra $40,000. So that plus the other money you took from the fuel budget last time, $37,000, now it comes to $77,000 away from the fuel budget. Well, you'll recall that I spoke about the fuel budget during the last budget process, and I said, you're way over budgeted. It turns out you were. But I know that it's useful sometimes to have excess money in budgets such as those that are not really set in stone so that you can transfer funds later on to things, to places where they are needed. Now that's fine. You're not allowed to put in a contingency budget line item in any of these expense items. So it's probably good that you do have a little extra there. $77,000 does seem like quite a bit. So next year we'll be talking about the fuel budget again when budget time comes up. Thank you for your attention.
Anyone else? Come on forward.
Good evening, everybody. Name is Yingchao YZ Zhang. I'm here to voice a little bit of concern over the beautiful pavilion. Quite a few residents posted on Facebook. The picture is tilted a little bit. So I'm really hoping that the Township Engineering Department can get it straightened up and also make sure it's going to be safe and sound going forward. And also, I'm hoping the Township or Engineering Department will inform the residents the progress and everything, because it is a beautiful site, and we hope it's going to be here forever at the beautiful site. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Come on.
Yamei Wang at 41 Montgomery Street. I just want to talk a little bit about the beautiful pavilion which was put into the Nash Park a month ago, and indeed it is beautiful. It's just about more than 10 days ago, and it starts to have a little lean to it, and then I went to the place, took a close look. It seems to have a bend in the middle between the joints of the 5 beams and the top layers. And then probably because of this bend, the bottom of the post seems to have a tilt, and there is a gap between the bottom of the post and the base. My personal impression is this seems to be a huge Lego tower that was placed onto the place, and then probably a push in the middle by probably wind or whatever the reason is, and create a bend. It's really a beautiful structure, and I hope we can work out a solution to keep it in place in our park. And I really like the structure, and hopefully we can have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be hearing from the administration in a few minutes about the beautiful pavilion.
Alok Sharma, 20 Davenport Drive. Good evening. I am here again to plead to you guys about the same issue that YZ and Yangmi mentioned here. The pagoda, I first noticed it last Sunday. It was kind of tilted like 5 degrees. Now it is 10 degrees, which basically means, like, sine of that angle, 17% of the weight of the entire roof is basically creating a rotational force on that column. Now two things happens with wood, right? Wood has different tensile strength along its grain and across its grain. So as long as you compress it or put a tension on it, that's fine. But when you put a rotational force on it, it's going to shear. And second thing that happens in the wood is what is called the cross grain shear. So when you have the grains, right, and you apply the lateral force at the top and opposing force at the bottom, right, on the grains, right, it will split. The wood is going to split, right. Now the top of that pagoda is beautiful. It's stable. It's the most artistic work over there. That needs to be saved, right. And every single day is important here. You have to take the top out, keep it safe somewhere, and fix the column, fix the foundation, whatever you guys want to do. But you have to take the top, dismantle the top, keep it safe somewhere, and then, like, worry about the foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, administration comments?
First, I know after election, November 7th, a couple of days after, I sent the email congratulated our newly elected officials. Here is the Mayor Hima Molate and council members Linda Geevers got re-elected and the council member Virginia Manzari. But again, for those who didn't get elected, I want to thank all of you for participating in the local politics, because it's very, very important for people in the community to be willing to get involved and step forward. And I have to say, I heard a lot of good things going on, but at the same time, even you will not get elected, there still will be plenty opportunities for you to look for the next time. And definitely, this is something that will help the whole community. And I want to thank all of you who got involved, and congratulate again for those who got elected and re-elected. And in terms of the beautiful pavilions, I had PE license, I'm engineering, but the moment it happened, I got a cell phone call right away, early Sunday morning, okay? And it's not that we didn't know anything about it, and I had to tell you, being an engineer, I am not structural engineering. I have my own analysis how that happened, but I'm not going to say anything because I am not qualified to say it, even I have PE license. And I also wanted to point out to some of the people here, elected officials, when it comes to public infrastructure, it's a national law, not just state. If you don't have PE license, you are not qualified to speak. And we have to hire people with PE license, specialize in different area. Just like the medical doctors, if you have eye problem, you don't go to pediatricians. And if you have, like a bone problem, of course you have to go to the right doctor. It's the same thing, that's what we are doing. We start doing that day one. And again, we have to review their report and we have to look into exactly what has to be done. And then we'll make decision accordingly. And I just want you to know that I have my own theory, but I am not entitled to say anything, and I'm not qualified for it. And I would like, and again, next council meeting, December 10th. Thanks to council. Council is willing to give me the time to give a farewell speech. So any one of you who care about what I have to say, you're more than welcome to sit here and listen to what I have to say. Hopefully it will not go over 15 minutes. I talk about 10 minutes and maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So, definitely will be ended before 7:30. I can guarantee you of that.
Okay, I will pick up where the mayor left off. On Sunday, November 19th, between midnight and 8 a.m., there were high winds in the area, and early in the morning, the landscape architect was notified that the beautiful pavilion was tilting, leaning. He immediately came out that morning, and his suspicion is that the high winds and what are known as very strong there could have been a strong crosswind which caused the structure to lean. However, the National Weather Service does not track crosswinds. We've had storms in the past, especially in the summer, where crosswinds have come through and have done a fair amount of destruction, especially to debris, trees. With that said, last week, first thing on Monday, the landscape architect was in touch with the structural engineer. He came out to look at it, and in the meantime, the area has been cordoned off because it's highly recommended that no one breach that area, because the structure could be, well, it's unstable. With that said, what I have learned this afternoon, prior to that, our insurance company has been notified. A claim has been filed. I don't know what amount of time the insurance company is going to need to have a claims adjuster come out, look at the damage and the like, but some of the cost might be reimbursable, less a deductible that the township has.
Excuse me, I also wanted to mention something. The structural engineer was hired, started from day one. And the township landscape architect has been getting him involved from day one up to when he was done. So every single step, it has been construction inspection, and also a structural engineer has been part of this step by step. But again, of course, no matter what, many of you may not know, Meadow Road overpass US 1, that was done by DOT contractors. And a few months after, many of you probably didn't even notice that the one of the sides, that actually the landslide going down, and then finally the contractor coming back to fix it. So no matter what kind of engineer and how qualified they are, definitely you have some other things that are totally unexpected, and we definitely will follow up to make sure this will be taken care of it. And I also want to assure you, the township, at least early in the morning Sunday, I got the first phone call about the 8 o'clock, and that is how early we got it. And then we follow up right away.
The architect has broken down this project to re-erect basically the structure into 4 components. He's evaluating the best way for the pavilion to be pulled back into place. And then the second recommendation has to do with how to guy it to prevent further movement. And this is basically a temporary measure, and that would be accomplished with guide wires and anchors. There's the need to temporarily stabilize that, and the recommendations on how that would be accomplished are still being looked into. And then the final step would be for the permanent return of the beautiful pavilion back erected upright, and with and that would be accomplished using a brace and bracketing system. This is all preliminary. Again, there may be other solutions that get thought of. I will tell you this, that time is going to be, there will be time. This is not going to get fixed overnight. We have to be careful about what is done to the structure in terms of pulling it back, and really it's working within a tolerance level, because you don't want to pull it immediately all the way back, not knowing what the consequences might be. So this is going to be a lengthy effort, but it also provides the opportunity to explore the best way to permanently stabilize this to withstand the wind situation that we experienced on November 19th. And again, the Weather Service doesn't keep track of whether or not crosswinds went through the area, but that's one of the suspicions.
I don't want to talk to you and give you my analysis, but again, because I say I'm not qualified to do it. One thing I have to let you know, and that is immediately after that happened, we did have people contact the same replica in China. It was built right next to Gobi Desert, and they told me that the Gobi Desert's wind was very, very strange, and they have no problem whatsoever. So that is something we also need to look into. That's why I don't want to jump into any conclusion. But I do have my own theory, because in New Jersey, if you want to get PE license, one of the requirements is you have to pass structural engineering test, no matter what. I don't know for new professional engineer whether that's the requirements, but I'm old-fashioned engineer. That is one of the subjects you have to pass as one subject.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mayor, about the structural engineer. Are we going to use the same structural engineer that signed off on this, or are we going to get a different structural engineer or a different firm
I think
to work
different
with?
options will be explored, and not to spend too much money, but we'll make sure we do it right.
Right. No, I know. We got to get it right this time, and certainly don't want to get anybody hurt.
I'm sure that council will be getting frequent updates on this, and I'm sure that the consultants that finally deal with straightening this out will make sure to protect the superstructure, as Mr. Sharma mentioned. That's very important.
The other factor that we have to take into consideration is in January is when the ground really freezes. So again, this is going to be a labor of love in terms of preventing further tilting, leaning, and possibly causing more damage than may have been done from the winds.
Right. And you get nor'easters, you get snow, ice, rain. We're going into that season.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we'll continue the discussion.
Exactly. So council member comments.
I'm not finished.
You have more. So sorry.
I'm sorry. Just a couple of community events coming up. The Historical Society of West Windsor invites residents to come celebrate the holidays at the Skank Farmstead, 50 Southfield Road, West Windsor, Saturday and Sunday, December 2nd and 3rd. The open house is from 1 to 4. There'll be self-guided tours of the farmhouse, barn, wagon house, and the one-room schoolhouse. I understand it's a very quaint and family-oriented affair.
And also Environmental Education Center is part of it. Many of you probably still don't know we have environmental education centers.
And then West Windsor Township will be holding the annual community tree lighting ceremony at 7 p.m. on Sunday, December 3rd. Rain date is December 10th. It'll be held at the Ron Rogers Arboretum at the corner of Clarksville Road and Route 571. The program includes a performance of the Prince of Peace Lutheran Church Bell Choir, West Windsor Plainsboro High School South's first edition performance, and a spectacular fireworks display. Free refreshments are also included. I think that includes hot chocolate. And our public works crews are now in the midst of a heavy leaf pickup schedule. They are in Zone 4 this week.
I also want to take these opportunities to thank Girl Scouts, all of you here, not just all of you, but also those who are not here. I want to thank both Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts in the past 16 years, try to help Township to build a lot of things, particularly the Girl Scouts' involvements in the environmental areas. And you got to know, West Windsor is ranked one of the top sustainable communities in the whole state. And some of your contribution has been part of it. And the Boy Scouts, they are not here, but Boy Scouts has been involved in making a lot of recreational facilities like benches and some of the recreational facilities in different part of the park facilities. We have 7 community parks in the whole township, probably one of the more progressive kind of a community when it comes to recreational facilities. But many of them, we got it for free from Boy Scouts as part of the Eagle Scouts project. And I hope all of these spirits will continue, even I'm no longer the mayor, and hopefully the administration will continue to move in that direction. That's the kind of relationship we establish, and I want to thank all of you for your contribution at the end of this year. Thank you again.
All right. Council comments. Aisha, will you start?
Sure, thank you, Allison. So as we all recover from the haze of Thanksgiving, don't rest, you've got to get ready for the next set of holidays, right? So December 10th, the West Windsor Fire Department, that's the one over on South Mill Road, is going to be doing breakfast with Santa. It's a pancake breakfast, lots of fun stuff at the fire station. They always do a great job. And then they wanted to announce that Operation Santa is coming up. So it's going to be December 14th, 15th, and 16th. And this is where they get on their fire trucks and Santa rides along with them and tosses out candy. And I think it's one of the coolest things that I've seen in this town. It's really a kind and welcoming thing. One of the things that our fire department needs, in addition to the routine cash donations, is really volunteers. And it doesn't mean that you have to be on a truck like Saju back there, and it doesn't mean that you have to be fire police like Saju's wife, but they will take any help. They really need it. So really think about that as part of your New Year's resolutions and how we can step up and help as volunteers. Thank you.
Linda?
I was glad to see all the Girl Scouts come out tonight. Unfortunately, they left, so we couldn't thank them, but it was good to see them come out and listen to them. Mr. Church had mentioned reflectors, which is something I had mentioned, I guess, a few years ago. And when you're driving around town, it's often very dark. And if we can get reflectors, if that is possible, on those medians, particularly along Village Road, that would be very helpful. Fog sets in, and sometimes you just don't see it. So I know that there were some senior citizens a few years ago that contacted us about that, but if that's at all possible, that would be great. There was also a question from Mr. Church about Social Security, the transfer from the fuel budget. I believe that had to do with contract negotiations.
In your packet.
Yeah. Right.
Is a memorandum explaining that, and the memorandum is that the transfer of $40,000 is necessary as a result of the settlement of collective bargaining unit agreements, and there were 5 that were settled in late 2016, and early 2017, and the retroactive pay for all 5 units were paid out in 2017, causing the Social Security System employer liability account to be short by an estimated $40,000. So that's the explanation for the transfer, because the 2016 retro was paid out in 2017.
Right, thank you. Speed limits on Clarksville Road, that might be something that Hamad Marate and Mayor Hsueh can talk about as a transition issue. Mr. Watrous brought up Cranberry Road. Do we have an update on Phase 1 and Phase 2?
Phase 1, at this point, very little work will begin in December. That's the earliest that the contractor can mobilize, and then you're going into weather situations which don't fare well for the type of sidewalk that's going to be put down. We don't want to put, basically excavate the ground, put rock in there, and then throw snow and debris on top of it. So that is more likely to be a spring project. They'll do some work in terms of staking out and the like, but with the weather and the contractor wrapping up his existing engagement, we may see some work in December, but I'm told because of weather and the material used for the sidewalk that to start the project and then have to stop it because of bad weather is not the ideal situation. In terms of Phase 2, Engineering Division is working closely with the property owners of Phase 2. The hope is that I don't know if temporary easements are going to be needed again, but I know that Francis and Brian are working closely to come up with some of the changes that have to occur because of the slope of the front property, the frontage of the property of a handful of the neighbors. I think there are half a dozen.
Yeah.
It's probably the most challenging part of the road because of the topography. And I know, you know, we've had a couple of meetings with the residents, and I think there's been some exchanges back and forth between the individual property owners. But the engineering division is well aware of attempting to get this bid in time for work to proceed while the bridge is closed.
And is the bridge on schedule so far? Any major problems?
I don't know.
Schedule up to this point is meeting the schedule, and ideally, we like to see that done by May next year, but only assuming the weather condition permit.
Right, that's good.
We've been fortunately, the weather's been cooperative.
Yes.
And let's hope that it stays that way.
Right, good. Okay, that's it. Joe?
Hello, everyone. I want to applaud the Girl Scouts. Great idea, worth pursuing in service to our community. My council colleagues and I attended the New Jersey League of Municipalities Convention on November 14th, 15th, and 16th. It was a valuable learning experience in the areas of planning, zoning, ethics, community engagement, and affordable housing. A few important takeaways that are relevant to our town and that I wanted to share with you, with the township. The master plan re-examination that the planning board conducts next year will be one of the most important things we attend to in our township. The last re-examination was conducted in 2008. By law, a municipality is required to do it once every 10 years or sooner if the need arises. As our needs and policies change, we need to make sure development keeps pace, and that includes future housing. This brings us to the next most important issue facing municipalities in New Jersey, and this was addressed at the convention, affordable housing. As we stand today, we don't know when Judge Jacobson will pass a judgment, But one thing is certain, that New Jersey municipalities will collectively look back at this issue as one of the most complex and all-consuming issues from both a financial and thought-share standpoint. There's a widespread view that the judge will give us a methodology to calculate affordable housing obligation and not a specific number. And the formulation of a suitable strategy to implement that obligation will be a challenging one for us. The one comforting thought is that we are not alone in this boat. The failure of the state to resolve this issue for the benefit of its municipalities has spawned a whole industry, many members of which populated the panel discussions I attended. It's up to us as a township to decide how best to leverage those resources, if at all. I just wanted to add, retail locations for communities of light kits include McCaffrey's in West Windsor, Diverse Style Salon in Mercer Mall, Lawrenceville, and East Windsor Police Department, among others, that are listed on the womenspace.org website. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We spent Thanksgiving evening with our family in New York City, where we go every year. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I applaud my colleagues' report on the League of Municipalities conference, which we all attended, and I have nothing to add except that we learned about affordable housing, that everybody else in the state is as anxious and ignorant as we are. We learned that the Jersey Shore is vulnerable because not only is the ocean rising a bit, but the land is subsiding, and that the economic consequences for New Jersey in 35 years will be dire. We will lose a third of our state and a great deal of our income. And so we all left feeling extremely cheerful about the future.
Really?
And I too would like to commend our Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts for the hard work they do in West Windsor. We had a Girl Scout who worked on putting in bicycle racks all over town. We've had Boy Scouts who've put in kiosks and benches, and I was a Girl Scout once, and I think the organizations both do wonders for the community and the participants. And next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, and I think it would be nice to think about giving your time, volunteering to help your township. You can go to the website and find a form which you can fill out and volunteer for various boards, commissions, and committees. You can volunteer for private organizations. You can volunteer for fire departments, as my colleague on this side has recommended. But think about giving your time on Giving Tuesday. Thank you. We have no public hearings. Do you have anything to add, Sharon?
No, I know. No further comment.
So we're up to the consent agenda.
Resolutions 2017-R296 authorizing the appointment of Sujit Singh, thank you, as a member of the Human Relations Council with a term to expire December 31st, 2019. Minutes from the October 16th, 2017 business session as amended, bills and claims.
Now, I believe that both Sharon and I have sent in some further amendments to the minutes, so I think we have to pull the minutes so that we can either discuss the amendments or amend the minutes. And Linda, would you like to pull the bills and claims to discuss one?
I had a question.
All right, then we'll do these three things separately. So do we have a motion on Resolution 2017 R296?
I'd like to pull that.
Oh, you'd like to pull that. So, which, everything's going to be pulled. So let's start with the resolution, because it is first on the agenda.
Okay, I was just wondering that this is a new member for the Human Relations Council, and their term will be coincident with the new administration be sworn in January. So should we not be waiting for Mr. Marathe to be back from his trip? So, we can all weigh in on that.
I think I just want to say a few things here.
Well, I have a very quick comment.
Okay,
To
sure.
put this in perspective, there are 5 members of the Human Relations Council up for reappointment, and that will be up to Mr. Marathe to appoint them, and there are 4 empty seats.
Yes.
So this is merely an elected official doing his duty till the end of his term, and it isn't as if there aren't plenty of decisions for Mr. Marathe.
he is still the mayor.
I also
Yes.
wanted to mention the reason I would like to appoint him was because I happened to meet with him at one of the nonprofit organizations dealing with, it's called Enable Inc. You know that organization, try to help disadvantaged adults and the children to make sure they get the support from the community. And he is on the board of trustees of that Enable Inc. And after talking to him, I know he got personal family experience. That's why he is contributing a lot of his time trying to help other people. And this is the kind of people we need for Human Relations Council. As long as I am concerned, in my 16 years, I always looking for people with that kind of background to help this town, to bring everybody together. And to me, it's my mayoral authority to at least all of this term up. Yes, they will be up to the next mayor, but for vacant position, it's still my authority to fill them. And this has been the standard practice. I just hope the council will understand the governmental system at this level, how we do it. And the reason he got appointed is because of his personal experience. I kind of feel in our community, we need to have people with that kind of experience.
Thank
And
you.
knowing the family burdens and the need help and knowing how to help other people.
So I think that this is a special person who would be very helpful on the Human Relations Council. And I will never forget what my predecessor, Robert Murray, a former mayor, said during a very interesting discussion in June of 1993. He said that he had been elected to serve until June 30th, and he was going to serve until June 30th. So Xing is merely following in the tradition of former mayors and committee people and council people. And as I said, it isn't as if this is the only seat left.
Well, Jyotika, I have a question for you. Is it a conceptual issue of appointing someone while we have a new mayor coming in, or do you have a problem with this particular candidate?
No, you're exactly right. It's a conceptual issue. And so, I understand what the mayor's position is, but I just don't feel comfortable about
You acknowledge he's still the mayor, right?
Supporting the appointment of someone whose term will be coincident with the new mayor's, and, having that person weigh in on it. I just think
Well,
that...
do you acknowledge that he's still the mayor?
Oh, yeah, of course he
Yeah,
is.
and his
There's
term
no
isn't
doubt
up
about
yet.
that. It's all paper. But all I'm saying is maybe we could defer it to a point where, we could all weigh in on it.
Well, I'm going to ask our counsel on the procedural issue. Do I just call the question now and move this?
You are allowed to call the question.
I'm going to call it.
Why don't you just move it to the next meeting when Hamad's back? Because we're in transition right now.
I'm going to call the question and move that this application be approved.
Do we need a second when she's called the question? I don't think we moved and seconded it and calling the question.
I don't think so, but, if you wait one more
usually-
meeting.
You need to have
You
a
need a move,
A second.
usually one calls the question to end debate on something that has been moved and seconded, but this has not been moved and seconded.
No, she's trying to end, she's calling it to end debate.
Yes.
Move it to, it's being moved.
We really didn't debate it.
Well, here's
Honestly,
my
that's not a
question.
Then don't,
If this goes down to defeat, what's the procedure to put it back on the agenda for the next meeting?
Well, you're the council president, you put it back on the agenda.
Put it back.
But it's the,
Oh, isn't it, wouldn't be somebody that voted in favor or would be able to place it back to?
Yes.
Yeah. Would be able to call it back to be able to place it onto the next agenda.
well,
So just put it on the next meeting, Monty will be back.
These political games are an absolute waste of time. This is a citizen of West Windsor who is stepping up to volunteer. Our mayor, who is still the mayor for the next, 32 days, is doing what a mayor is supposed to do. It's absurd that you would question this.
You know what, I mean, I have nothing against the candidate at all. You know, and like you yourself pointed out, that it's a conceptual thing, and...
No, I asked you if it was I don't have a problem with the mayor doing his job right now.
No, you said that was an option, and that's exactly what I'm thinking.
well...
Marlena, you have a question?
Marlene?
Just a suggestion, I know that the Human Relations Commission is going to be very busy in January because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. They do have a very successful program, and...
And they're down 5 members now?
This is why I mention this.
It's a really
It's your
good point,
decision.
and those programs don't just happen in 20 days. People work on them for months. So go ahead and tank the program because you're playing a political game. That's really disturbing.
I completely disagree with that.
Well, I understand.
Are we able to put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Of course, but I really urge you all to vote for this person. He is obviously not a political appointee. He is obviously somebody who has been involved deeply in caring for people in West Windsor. Enable is one of those nonprofits that houses and educates people who are special needs, and the terms on the Human Relations Council are only 2 years, and as I said, there are 5 spots up for reappointment. There are 4 empty spots. Please, let's just fill one of them and move forward. So
what do I move this?
if you move it, I will second it, and we can at least vote on who wants to go on.
Remember, we have 4 members, and if it's a 2-2, it's a vote no.
But if it is a failure, as council president, I have the right to put it back on when we have
do.
5.
Because you vote in favor, because you voted in favor of it.
If you vote in favor.
If you vote.
Okay.
So procedurally, I will move this application for approval and for appointment of Sujit Singh to the Human Relations Council.
Can I amend that to move it to the next meeting?
You would have to, she's already made the move, she would have to agree to your amendment.
And I need a second to Aisha's motion.
I don't agree to the amendment.
She's the mover, you have the second, it's now on the floor.
Linda has...
You have further discussion, because the motion is...
the chair will second. I think we've discussed this to death. I think this is a matter of whether council is willing to move forward and make what I consider to be a good call, and what some of you are hesitant to.
Well, I think it would be good for Hemant to have an opportunity to maybe talk with him, so...
Well, he's not here.
He will have an
not here. He will be
opportunity
here.
to talk to 8 people in a 13-person, including 1 student group.
Okay. One meeting is not going to make a difference, but if you want to vote,
I
we'll
just
vote.
want to understand, conceptually, if we were to move it to the next meeting, what difference
Well, you
would that
can't
make?
move it at this point, it's now, there's a motion on the floor, it has to be voted upon. It's a motion to approve this appointment.
I think that it is the council's job to make these decisions, and I'm...
Can I abstain?
Of course you can
You
abstain.
can abstain, but unfortunately, if you abstain and Councilwoman Geevers votes no, then it still fails. Your
Two-
abstention becomes a no. It's like voting no.
Well, 2 abstentions becomes
They function as no votes under
as
your...
no's.
So just so we're clear, right? Your job up here is to vote, but go ahead and abstain, that's fine.
I just
right?
wanted to say something here.
It's a
I have
slap
been-
in the face to people who
I
are
have
trying to
been
volunteer.
elected as a council and a mayor for 24 and a half years. I have never seen anything like this tonight, and I'm sorry to see it happens tonight.
Well, I think what this is a precursor of what's to come. I am absolutely appalled that we are slapping in the face someone who has stepped up to volunteer, who has been vetted by the mayor, who, I mean, what do we do, call the question? Now we call the question?
Yeah, now you can call the question.
Stop me from talking. Let's go.
Bahree?
But
Abstain.
Geevers?
Abstain.
Hamilton?
Yes?
Miller?
yes,
Okay, motion does not carry.
Motion fails.
well, I can announce right now as council president, I voted yes, I have a right to put this on. It will be on the next meeting, and I assure that Councilman Marathe will be hearing from a lot of people. I hear someone in the audience saying he's going to hear from us, so a lot more people. So, next come the minutes. And we pulled the minutes because there are some changes. The changes were put on your desks here. Have you looked at them? Are they okay? Are you okay with them? My changes were minimal, and Sharon's changes were, I thought, necessary. So, do I have a...
I just had to add a certification on to the October 16th minutes with regard to the best practices, per Joanne's recommendation.
Yeah, and I asked Sharon to spell that out because she used so many abbreviations, I didn't know what it meant. So do I have a motion to amend the minutes as described in these emails?
I'll make a motion to
Yes.
amend.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Can we vote on that, please?
Yes. Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Now, do we need a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Bills and claims, Linda, you had a comment.
The, where is it here? The re-examination report, is that something that is done by the planning board, or it's just being done separately by the consultant? I just,
That would be under the planning board budget.
That's the planning board.
all right, so this is,
But we haven't at planning board seen anything related to the reexamination report.
Neither have I.
Okay.
I just didn't know what was going on.
It's a work in progress, and when the report is issued, I believe in a draft form for the planning board to then discuss.
Right now, it's not done yet. The reason is the consultants was asked to start this 10 years review, started January 1. And in preparation for January 1, started for this review, he will have to start doing the groundwork. And that's exactly what he's doing. Nobody got anything from him, but he got to start working on it.
Yeah, typically what occurs is that the planning board asks the consultant to begin preparing it. He starts assembling, various items, look at the old report first, puts everything together, brings it back to the planning board, sometimes in draft form, sometimes in other forms, and then the planning board will then give direction from there.
If you recall, we're undertaking this process based upon a discussion that council had, I would say, in late August, early September. And I think you know what meeting I'm referring to. It was a planning board meeting.
You have a lot of
Let's
work
leave it
to
at
be
that.
done before.
oh, you mean the July meeting, the second meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
right, which is
We're
fine.
putting our ducks in a row so that we are well-positioned when we have a more definitive answer with
Right.
respect to some planning issues that are being decided.
And this town, the political systems in this country is being built based on the continuity of, doesn't matter who is the administrator, who is the mayor, who is the governor, who is the president. You just keep going, and them things started them regardless. Started January 1, you might have a totally different planning board. So be it. That's what it means by democratic system. It's not like a dictatorship. And the reality here is, as long as I'm sitting on the mayor before December 31, I'm still the mayor of West Windsor. Don't try to make me smaller than I am.
Well, nobody is doing that, okay? I'm simply asking you, was the consultant's fee supposed to come out of the planning board account, or is it the land use account? I thought it was a planning board function. I just noticed it when I was...
It's coming out of an account where there's money available unless you want to do a transfer of funds, and, you know, I don't think it really matters. The work needs to be done.
Right, okay.
All right, do I have a motion for the bills and claims?
Move.
Second.
Okay, could we vote on that, please?
Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay, recommendations from administration and council clerk.
All right. 2017 R297, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a one-year contract extension with Princeton Air Conditioning for maintenance and service of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems for various township buildings. The amount of the contract is $48,504. Princeton Air is holding that rate for 2018, I guess.
Yeah.
2017 R298, authorizing the business administrator to execute a change order number 1 with MECO Inc. for a 29.25% decrease in final quantities adjustment and project closeout for the project known as Alexander Road Reconstruction. The amount of the decrease in the contract is $82,743.23. If you recall, that project is a DOT reimbursement project. 2017 R299, authorizing the business administrator to execute change order number 1 with MNC Concrete LLC for an increase of 10.75%. for final quantities adjustment and project closeout for project known as municipal storm sewer repair. The amount of the change order is $8,750. Bear with me. Hold on. All right, I'll go back to, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a contract amendment with Roberts Engineering Group for supplemental work for the project known as Glenview Drive reconstruction. The amount of the amendment is $2,231.25. 2017 R301, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with ACT Engineers for an increase for miscellaneous engineering services. The amount of the amendment is $1,200. 2017 R302, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a developer's agreement with Shalini Reddy, 111 Penlisle Road. 2017 R303, I would suggest we hold that and deal with that separately.
Does anyone want to pull anything between R297 and R302? If not, could we have a motion?
I have a question about 301. Do I need to pull it for
Yeah, we'll pull that. Okay, do I have a motion for 297, 98, 99, 300, and 302?
I'll move those.
Second.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Your question on 301?
I'm just trying to understand, is this an amendment to the contract, or is it for the purposes of accounting under the new law?
It's both. The last paragraph, last sentence of that memo says that we need to have them do some construction survey and stakeout services for the engineering division before year end. So it's a combination of both.
Okay. Thank you.
Then would you like to move it?
Yes, so moved. R301.
Second.
Could we have a roll call vote?
Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. And now we get up to 303, which we need a two-thirds vote of the full majority of council, which means all four of us.
Okay.
And again, this is a transfer motion, that's why it's required to have the 4 votes.
Yeah, authorizing the budget transfer to provide funds into the Social Security System other expenses budget from the gasoline budget.
Thank you.
Motion to approve 2017 R303.
Second.
Could we have a roll call?
Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Introduction of ordinances.
Okay. 2017-32, ordinance amending the Township Code, Chapter 4, Administration of Government, Article 14, President and Vice President, term, presiding officer, annual meeting.
Okay, do we have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second, if you need it.
Yes. Thank you. Could we have a roll call vote?
And I didn't hear who seconded it.
Oh, second.
Oh, Linda did.
Okay. Bahree?
Yes.
Geevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
The public hearing for this ordinance will be December 11th, 2017.
Yes, and that will be a day when the mayor will be here and will be able to sign it, and this is the last possible time for an ordinance this year, because it will come into effect, assuming we all vote yes, and he signs it, on December 31st, after which everything ends. So, additional public comment, anyone?
So, name and address, is that what
Name
you're
and
saying?
address, please.
Shinyi Lin, I'm at 8 Harrison Lane. I just had a follow-up question about the fireworks that just happened here over this appointment. I don't know if this is appropriate. I'm confused. I'm a resident who's just started to come to town council meetings, just so that my husband and I, who've lived here for about 15 years, are thinking about ways just to be like more aware and maybe just see if there are places to get involved. I was just quickly looking online. It seems like there actually are at least a few vacancies on the various boards. So I don't know, I don't have the institutional memory, but is it like normally the case that people on town council need to like vet individual appointments to the board? I'm just confused because I would expect that like if a volunteer wanted to come up that I legit don't know, and so I just had a comment of confusion.
I would like you to understand website. We have a clear definitions of how you apply for volunteers position, and then also form attached to it. And all you need to do is fill out the form and identify your areas of expertise, and then what you wanted to get involved, and submit it to either Clerk's office, and usually some of them, they just send it to my office, but again, of course, I got 1 more month to go. And, I think basically that's all you have to do.
Oh, no, I mean, I understand the process. I just didn't understand what was going on.
What's going
here.
on is some offices are simply appointed by the mayor, some by the council. The largest number are appointed by the mayor with advice and consent of council. We are giving our advice and perhaps consent. It is up to us whether we want to call the person up and talk to them, whether we know them by reputation, whether we simply want to trust the mayor and the resume that is submitted along with the volunteer application, which we get a copy of.
So you guys saw that, I see.
Yeah, and again, also for your information, some of the volunteer boards are very hot, and then you get so many people looking for one spot. And then you also have some of the volunteer boards, you never be able to fill all of the spots. So whoever apply for it, and for my position, usually I interview whoever submitted to me for my recommendations or appointments, and make sure we have the right person, and then recommend it to council for advice and consensus. And so that's how we do it. And usually I don't appoint anybody I never have chance to talk to, or I don't know anything about it. All right, but again, planning board, zoning board are hot items. You probably will have to wait for years, or not even possible for you to get in at all.
Gotcha.
But some of the, like the Human Relations Council, we are constantly looking for people, particularly qualified people. So that's why it's not easy to get the qualified people for Human Relations Council. When I took over mayor's office 2001, Human Relations Council was abolished by the mayor before me because he couldn't get any. And then we started the whole Human Relations Council 16 and a half years ago. All right, so just give you some idea. If you wanted to know more about the system, you're more than welcome to call my office and just come to the office and talk to me.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out why there were barriers to, I mean, just as someone who doesn't know, like, that was kind of a shocking display of
Don't be
conversation.
discouraged. Don't be
So,
discouraged by it.
Clarification, all right.
It's where all volunteers are welcome, and we need volunteers. As the mayor said, sometimes we don't have enough people stepping up, so I appreciate that you came up and asked the question. The issue was a conceptual one of why is this mayor making an appointment to a board that will exceed the end of his term. It wasn't an objection to the volunteer himself. So if you want to volunteer, please volunteer. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, council reports and discussion. Jodica?
The Environmental Commission has not met since the last meeting, so I have no further updates.
Linda?
No new reports, nothing.
Aisha?
Nothing to report.
Well, at the next meeting, at this point, we will be discussing council procedures. Any further changes that you want to make on January 1st, get them in by next Monday so we can discuss them the following Monday. Also, we will be talking about, though not making decisions, on the procedures and the schedule for the reorg, which will be January 1st. There are decisions to be made by the people to be sworn in, and we all have to know about it. And one quick comment about reflectors on median strips. I would really like to see those. Is there not some kind of really small grant for some kind of safety? Anyway, if anybody hears about, reads about, or finds something like that,
Allison, they're just
where
reflectors.
we could just
Can you go
put
Home
the
Depot or
reflectors.
Lowe's and get buy some?
Well,
Aren't there
that
some?
would
Let me-
have to be budgeted, so.
Well, that's the issue.
Maybe the local Boy Scouts can take on that
How
project.
much can reflectors cost?
Anyway, I'm just saying that it would really be an important safety issue to put those
We
reflectors in.
will look into it, and we will do our best to find
And if you
the
want to
funds.
know where they're really needed, just drive around in the dark with me
I
and I'll
know.
tell you. So, more administration updates.
Yes, I failed to mention earlier, Police Department has its own web page, and they have important advisories on it. And during the weekend, you may have gotten a Nixle advisory indicating that our police department has been made aware of vehicles being stolen while running in neighboring towns, and it's occurring during the early morning hours. So for our residents, there are some useful tips that the police department offers, but the basic prevention policy is never leave your car running or the keys in the ignition when you're away from it, even for just a minute. The other situation is to prevent vandalism to the car. Remove all portable electronic devices such as smartphones and GPS navigation systems, including the suction cup or beanbag type mounts. The visible appearance of those items on the glass windshield can be an inducement for a thief to break in and look for the GPS system. You know, people leave coins, their Easy Pass devices in the car. So again, we urge you not to leave your car running. Also, it's not good for the environment, the idling of the engine.
We do have a non-idling ordinance somewhere.
And then the other comment I want to go back to is the police department every year, for the past 3 years, I think, is holding Bark Drop 2017. It's the police department's 4th annual dog, cat, toy, and food drive for local shelters and homeless animals. It's a very successful event. And I know that the police department this weekend filled up two bins with donations from residents and businesses, and the deadline is to have residents, businesses, and everyone else who would like to participate in this event to drop their items at West Windsor Police Headquarters at Blue Bin in the lobby by December 18th, and then on December 20th, the police division will go out and visit the homeless shelters. I went out last year, and it's a touching experience watching the people who are rescuing animals. They literally are overwhelmed with the gratitude and the embracement that the community takes of this program at this time of year. So that's it on my end.
So thank you very much. We do have a reason for a closed session. Do you want to state the exact, this is for discussion contract?
I'll read it into the record. Whereas NJSA 10:4-12 allows for a public body to go into closed session during a public meeting. And whereas the Township Council, West Windsor Township, has deemed it necessary to go into a closed session to discuss certain matters which are exempt from the public, and whereas the regular meeting of this Township Council will reconvene, and whereas the below stated subject matter shall be made available at such time as the issues discussed therein are resolved, and its disclosure would not subvert any particular exception for convening a closed session. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Council, the Township of West Windsor, will go into closed session as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12, and this is for the discussion of litigation and the Avalon Settlement Agreement. May I have a motion?
Motion to go into
So
closed.
moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.